Welcome back to West Coast Commander. This meta versus Brew features Jegantha Sisay fighting it out with 3 other competitive EDH meta decks. Jegantha Sisay is a proactive combo deck with supplemental toolbox game plans, a small reanimator package, and breach freeze lines. For commentators this episode, we have Lurker returning along with West Coast Commander's own ASM. If you like our content, make sure to like and subscribe. With that said, I will turn it over to Lurker and ASM. I hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi, so Lurker here, and we have ASM with me, and we're going to be watching a game with Jegantha Sisay, the new 5-color Sisay, not the old 2-color Sisay. Basic combo here is going to be that you're going to use Jegantha to make 5 colors of mana and pull out legendary creatures from your deck, specifically Derevi, which untaps Jegantha, and then Samut, which untaps Jegantha, and then Najeela, and then you have all 5 colors, and you can
do infinite combats.
Seems pretty good. It's a little bit worse with the new companion rule, but it's not so significantly worse.
Yeah, it's still pretty much a 0-card combo.
Yeah, that's kind of the real power I see in it, where it's just, you don't need to draw anything specific, you just need to find enough mana to cast it. You've just got both your combo pieces right there in the companion zone, I guess.
And then we have Vu Chain for Sliver. I think a pretty well-known deck at this point. It's basically you just you get Vu Chain and you get a Cast from Exile creature. You can exile the Cast from Exile and repeatedly do that, and then you cast the Sliver lots of times and cast your whole deck.
And when we've got Thrasios or Tymna decks, we've got one that's just kind of a CST and another that's a Tymna Kraum with some of the new Stormy lines. Without further ado, get into opening hands. So Will was going first, kept his second 7. I think it's a decent second 7 if you're kind of expecting the game to go longer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what his Neoform targets are, but I don't think he's on Seedborn Muse.
Yeah, it seems a little weak to me, but the just doesn't really have a lot of a game plan going on, but it just kind of is going to sit there and draw a few cards, probably rely on Tymna for a little while. But then Neoform could get a Gilded Drake, maybe you can steal Kraum.
Rebel here has had to mull to 6. The Hull of the Bandit Lord is very important to this deck, so that's a really nice keep there. The colors might be a little awkward with Tundra Arid Mesa, but hopefully Jace as a little value engine might be able to do some work, and hopefully Lavinia as a little bit of a stax piece might be able to do a little bit of work too.
Yeah, and I think the Arid Mesa actually is probably not that bad. I'm not too familiar with how the deck wants to fetch, but it's probably going to get like a Tega or something. Then at least you can cast your red stuff, so it's alright, but yeah, agree, the color's a little tough.
The Tundra does give all of the blue for all of the blue cards in the hand right now, so it's probably fine.
Yeah, actually, I guess if you want to cast your Lavinia, then the Arid Mesa has to fetch kind of weird.
That was kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, alright, but otherwise it's pretty low to the ground hand, so we'll see how that goes.
David has a also mulled to 6.
The all-mana hand.
Well, it does have the one tutor for the Cast from Exile, do a tiny bit of deck thinning.
I'm actually not like a super huge fan of this hand. It's like you can get your Cast from Exile, but Sliver is not very good at digging. You're really relying on your top deck to hit a tutor or something like that can get your Vu Chain.
Yeah, but on a 6, it's kind of hard to mull past this, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And finally, Sinestra kept a 7 of lots of cards that cost 1 or 0, and only a single land. It's a pretty good hand, though. Vamp Tutor's strong.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a turn 2 Adnaz.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, pretty solid. Alright, looks like it'll be a pretty exciting game.
Unfortunately, if he wants to keep up that deflecting swat, turn 2 Adnaz might not be quite in the picture.
Well, luckily for him, nobody has counter spells.
Well, I suppose if he just tries to go for it, that might be the game.
Alright.
We'll have to see. Alright. And we're into the gameplay.
Yep. It looks like we'll be dropping those pre-game effects with the Gemstone Caverns.
Throws away one of those mana dorks. Had a few anyway to kind of go. Really hoping for a wheel out of one of these Tymna decks. But unfortunately, neither of them, as we know, started one with one.
In fact, the only hand which really has a lot of action is probably Sinestra's.
And Sinestra's going last. Will starts off with that Bayou and the Birds of Paradise. Rebel going second. So yeah, that it is the Taiga like you thought it might be, but that does make casting that Lavinia a little bit easier now that we've got the Noble Hierarch out.
Yeah, certainly a solid top deck.
Sliver does just cast the second Mana Dork and hold up the Scalding Tarn. And Sinestra plays the 2 mana and passes.
And telling everybody that he has Dockside. That's okay. He still has the end of turn Vamp Tutor if he wants to do that. Oh, he actually only has 1 mana source though, so he still needs the... He does need the Dockside in order to actually go off with Nas.
Will just slams the Okame adversary. Thankful that people played some green sources. Probably cursing himself for not running the Seedborn Muse if he's not on it, and very thankful for including it if he is on it. Always hard to know with these Tymna Thrasios decks.
Oh, interesting. This is probably a Jace?
Yeah, the Hall of the Bandit Lord gets slammed down, and so does the Jace. Really setting up for that Jegantha to be put into the hand as soon as possible. Sliver plays another land, and they go for that Manipulate Fate. They just go get their Cast from Exile, probably.
Alright.
And a little cantrip, too, right?
Yep.
God, those cards are so powerful. I've always thought that one of the real strengths of 5-color deck has always been just the fact that you get that Manipulate Fate and the Foresight, Demonic Consultation, and your Tainted Pact, all as ways to get your Cast from Exiles, and 2 of them cantrip and 2 of them tutor. You just have so many ways to actually do it.
Just all those exile synergies for things that are supposed to be downsides.
Really does show what happens when they even try a little bit to break some of the rules, like getting cards back from exile.
Alright, see the Vamp Tutor. Very curious what this is.
So, I mean, what do you think you would get here? I think I would just go for the Nas, probably, right? Or maybe a Wheel, but...
I don't think I would go for Nas here. Or maybe it might still be okay, but we do... He's probably landlocked unless he top decked a land. So, and his Dockside doesn't actually give any mana right now. So he's gonna Nas and pass with no added mana to his board. I could see him getting Crypt here and just trying to just play some value off of like Kraum or something.
That could be a pretty good option. I suppose there's also just kind of going for Remora or something, right, as well?
Yeah.
Going for a value engine.
So he played a Morphic Pool.
So, do you think he top-decked that Morphic Pool in the previous turn, or...?
I think so. I don't think he tutored for a Morphic Pool.
I can't imagine him tutoring for a Morphic Pool.
So he probably got Nas and he's just holding it up now. Brainstorm. Okay, with that Brainstorm hands start looking very different.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the fetch land right after it. Willie could now kind of just have anything. And I think that...
He had some extra... He had another fetch that he could have... he can throw away as chaff. Ooh,
yep.
Fish.
And he finds the Mystic Remora. Does anybody have any responses to the Mystic Remora? No. They just let it resolve. And Okame swings in to draw a card.
Alright. Tapping the Nas player. Makes sense.
And back to Rebel's turn.
Actually, this pod has a lot of creature decks. I could see this fish not drawing too much for a little while.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But it does keep things awkward for the Kraum player here.
So actually, I did message Sinestra when this game was happening to ask what the Vamp Tutor target was, and it was indeed Ad Nauseam.
Yeah, makes pretty good sense to me. All right, the Lavinia is gonna bring some tears.
Well, especially that Ad Nauseam player. Until Sinestra manages to land 5 lands, he is completely locked out by Rebel's Lavinia.
Yeah, I mean it's also annoying for Food Chain, right? Because doesn't it stop the free cast off First Sliver? It says whenever it does do that, but it also says whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. So it does also.
Oh, it stops the cascades. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh. Well, that's very interesting. afterwards a Mana Vault, and that might just be used immediately to crack, get that Jegantha into hand.
Interesting choice not to tap the Hall.
Well, it does cost 3 life every time you use it.
Yeah, but not like the deck doesn't run Adnaz, I don't think.
No, they're not on
It doesn't.
Adnaz.
Yeah.
I suppose, honestly, if everybody knew the deck better, they'd kind of know that this, it's never the aggro target. But
Yeah. Could be.
probably not, though, I don't think.
Gonna drop that Juggernaut with haste.
Oh no, it attacks each turn if able. But no, that is the end of their turn.
Alright, looks like David's still twiddling his thumbs here. I think the martial arts was not his opener, so he's been probably been bricking on lands for a bit, so.
So Sinestra just unfortunately sees the writing on the wall and goes for a dark ritual into Kraum.
Yeah.
Knowing that that is all he will be able to do for a little bit. That fish has gotten to draw a couple of cards. That Mana Vault and that Dark Rip were not free.
Yep.
And I think that I'm really, if I personally, if I was, inserted into this game by some divine will at the moment, I think that I would like to be in Big Willie's seat. He's got enough lands where the Lavinia is not going to be stopping him too hard, and of course, the real big dumb thing about Consult Oracle is that no stax piece like Lavinia is ever going to stop it.
Yep, but looks like Rebel is potentially getting geared up for some scary plays soon, so.
For sure.
I think next turn she can grab that companion, and then let's see. So I guess you need a 3+5, so you need 8 mana to actually play both in the same turn.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but they're 1 mana off. So if they just go companion next turn, and if they draw a land, then they can do their thing the next turn.
Will plays a Mana Dork and passes. And Rebel is just 1 mana away, 2 cards in hand, so a little bit maybe not full of interaction. But the nice thing about Sisay Jegantha is that you're just playing creatures, and a lot of people's interaction nowadays does not hit creatures.
I'd say there's a fair amount of flexible bounce spells that get played. Those are all going to be after they've resolved.
Right. So it's still going to be a little bit hard to stop the combo entirely, or at least stop everything from happening, If Jegantha gets to tap, it does just get to recast itself the next turn. Rebel finds Brainstorm. Trades 1 card for Willie's. And they cast Sisay. And swing in, and that's the turn. Back over to David. Who
Okay, more dorks.
finally finds a second dork. Oh my god. I was worried because, he had pitched that other one at the very beginning of the game. I was worried he would never find a second mana dork. He quickly passes the turn on to Sinestra.
Honestly, I think I'd probably be greedy enough to go down to 5 and just try to get some gas.
Yeah, that keep at 6 was pretty hard there. It's rough. It's really hard to know when you don't have card advantage in the command zone what exactly you're going to draw into every game.
Yep.
Sinestra plays a Tymna and draws a card.
So notably, he did draw a card off of Rebel's turn. From the Kraum trigger. Drown.
Who is Will afraid of the most right here?
Assume he's blowing up the Sisay? Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes Sandbag King Will.
Yeah, that was a little bit early for our Sandbag King. But maybe not. Maybe it was actually just exactly on time.
Yeah, I'm guessing he just wants to cast something and hold up his... He doesn't want to hold up that 2 mana right now. Or hold it up for other things.
No, do you pay for the fish here on with 6 mana total? I think I do.
Yeah. I think I would. Just doesn't seem like the game's really going anywhere, and like David's just kind of passing with mana up, so...
Now, it'd be really nice if you could slip in a Tymna or a Thrasios here. Unless Billy Willie... Oh, of course. Will's got the 5th land. Just chugging along here. He can still manage to hold up 2 mana and cast either of his commanders. Unless he's got a good play in his hand otherwise. Does have a lot of cards.
Interesting.
Well,
So
he's swinging,
not
so
going
he...
for the Tymna.
Yeah, definitely not going for the Tymna. You ever think about the fact that Lavinia went from a 4/4 to a 2/2 after she went from a soldier to a renegade?
You lose that. You lose the military equipment.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we got more dorks on the board. That poor dockside has can make 2 mana.
I'm so glad that there isn't an elf side extortionist or something. That
Yeah, it's called Priest of Titania.
oh, that's fair. Well, but imagine if it had an ETB that created a 1/1 Llanowar elf for each other elf in play, right?
Follow that up with the Guy's Cradle. So, swinging in for another 4.
And it looks like the Jegantha has been moved into the hand.
Yep. I think the peoples know what's coming next turn.
Rebel is gearing up.
Well, given how much mana Big Willie is holding up and actively choosing not to cast Tymna, I'm pretty sure he's got something.
I've really got to hope. He could have Nas here, right? He is holding up Nas mana?
No, I think he just cast that Noble Hierarch, so...
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, he could still be holding it up if it's like Dark Ritual or something, but I don't believe he's holding that mana for Ad Nas.
Food Chain Sliver, of course, still doesn't look like they have many plays here. Choosing not to cast the Sliver still. Azorius Renegades, holding back those Cascades. Sinestra trying to get in with his own Tymna. Looks like he's holding back the Kraum to block now, though, down to 22 life.
I don't know. Would you draw the extra card off Kraum?
I don't know.
Like, he still has the lifeless console lines plus the Underworld Breach. They don't really rely on having a high life total.
Yeah, but I mean, it really depends on what he's found. It's I feel like this is really Big Willie and Rebels games to win. Sinestra and David just look like they've been completely outpaced so far.
Yeah, but I think on the flip side, though, that Rebel is clearly presenting herself as a threat right now. And that may have some turn order beneficials for probably not David, because I'm assuming he doesn't really have much going on. But maybe Sinestra might be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with Big Willie being last in turn order when Rebel tries to go off.
Yeah, it is always a little tough when the turn order gives you kind of being right after the player who's holding up the mana, or being right before the player who you're worried about.
Yeah.
Both seats are kind of interesting overall, but not places you love to be.
Looks like Sinestra's looking to blow up this Lavinia.
Well, that'll turn the Adnaz back online.
Yep.
Although, now that Sinestra's already lost so much life, might not be quite as good of an Adnaz as it normally would have been. Although, Adnaz is a hell of a drug. We'll see if even, I've seen 20 life Adnazes get there plenty, so...
Okay. Doesn't look like anyone's complaining about the Lavinia being gone. Yep. And then Sisay shrinks by 1, I think.
Looks like he does find a mana crypt. And he passes his turn. Willie, at the end of that turn, is gonna cast an Abrupt Decay. Not sure what exactly the target's gonna be. He's got quite a few options. Did Sinestra just ask about the Tymna? I think he did, and I believe that is a proxy for
Deflecting SWAT.
a deflecting SWAT, yeah.
And he's changing the target to fish, which is pretty good.
Yeah, fish
Gotta
is
say.
good, but at the same time, fish is 3 mana next turn to keep up. I'm not even sure if Willie's would be keeping it up here. Sisay, on the other hand, only lost a Lavinia. That's not a combo piece. And I feel like Sisay would be a fine target here as well. Sinestra trying desperately hard to make sure that we can actually read the deflecting SWAT. It doesn't matter though, because Big Willie says it's fine. Put that deflecting SWAT in the graveyard. I have a dispel. Oh, and Sinestra, they are spending all of their counter magic on each other right here, where we know that Rebel is presenting a win. Oh my God, they are spending all of their
really
counter magic.
wants that. He really wants that Tymna. Okay, interesting.
This was all for a Tymna?
And well, from Will's perspective, his
For
fish
a
as well.
fish, yeah, sure. At that
Okay,
point,
so
you
he's
better
still
pay
paying
for
for his
that
fish.
I suppose the
Yeah.
fish did just draw another, like, for every spell that Sinestra just spent, Will got a card back either way. So maybe that was Will's angle on it. He knew that he would just be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he also did draw another card off the mana crypt too.
Fires off a preordain. But with all of this interaction spent, will either of them still have anything left for Rebel?
There's actually a good chance that Rebel doesn't really have that much interaction. I guess she's looted a few times with Jace, but otherwise, like, hasn't really gone through a ton of cards.
Yeah, that's pretty true. I guess Will really does just kind of have to hope that all those draws found even more interaction. At least they found more mana. Slams out another Soul Ring.
Well, it's a Kraum trigger at least. I don't know if Sinestro actually drew a card though, so I'm not sure if that is taking advantage of it. Oh, a Neoform. Interesting. Oh, that's... Oh, right. We completely forgot about the Neoform at the beginning of his hand.
Well, I guess he's just using Neoform as a... I would have guessed a Thassa's Oracle outlet, but at this point I don't think so anymore with...
Yeah, it might very well be a Gilded Drake.
Gilded Drake would be pretty clutch here. I guess you just take the Sisay, don't you? It's not bad at all.
You just use it as removal, basically.
Yeah. Seems like a very worthwhile endeavor here.
It is indeed the Drake.
Yeah, I think it has to be the Sisay here. I feel like I just wouldn't be that worried about Sinestro after Sinestro lost that counter war.
Yeah. Well, especially because, you know, he has one colored mana right now. He has the Birds of Paradise, and he's going to be passing into Sisay.
Right.
And he's got his LSV Sisay. Oh, another land drop. Okay. One thing that Big Bully is not lacking is mana.
You know, I do love having a lot of mana.
Can't say I've ever complained.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things in the game is hard casting 8-drops. So.
It looks like Rebel may be out of the game for a little while, with the Commander missing in action, and but the deck does have alternate game plans, so it can go for those, or if it finds a bounce spell, it can easily put the Sisay back in hand.
Yeah, it's not that far off still overall, but it definitely got hindered a bit there. Probably just going for the Jegantha here. Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Hasty Jegantha, tapping for all of the colors, preventing you from running such interesting cards as Mana Drain, Counterspell, Ad Nauseam. Doesn't let you run all of the best hate bears like Limbala. Doesn't let you run like Grand Abolisher, I guess. Actually, I don't know. Does Jegantha stop you from running a Vexing Shusher? I would assume yes, right?
I was just thinking the same thing. Let me see. Says no card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana symbol in its mana cost. So I think yes, it would stop you from running.
They do have the same, two of the same mana. So that's a pretty unfortunate one. But overall, it's really less cards than you might think that it really stops you from running.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, the Counterspell and Mana Drain Mana Drain's probably a little bit more painful since this deck does need a lot of mana to actually go off, but I'd say it's those are not like huge losses, especially in a 5-color deck where your mana bases are a little restrictive.
Yeah, for sure. It actually almost helps you build your 5-color deck because it forces you to kind of fetch for all 5 colors in some ways that a lot of 4 and 5-color decks don't.
Yep.
Well, the Jegantha is out, and mana is being floated, or I suppose held.
Yep. And looks like David's finally cracking that Marsh Flats.
Do you think David is finally just going to cast the Sliver now that the Cascade is finally open?
Yeah, I think he said last turn that he was going to do that, so I'm pretty sure that's his move. Unless he played everybody and he's about to cast an Ad Naus.
I mean, that would be the big brain play. You do know that almost everybody's completely out of interaction here.
Yep. Oh, there is a fish up, so...
Yeah, it's still hard to win through a fish.
I will say, though, that I do think that it's a little bit hard for this deck to win through a main phase Ad Naus sometimes, but he does have 2 mana up, so he can probably if he just hits like a Mana Source plus...
Yeah, I mean, all you need
plus
to
Food
hit...
Chain, he'll be good to go.
All you need to hit here is exactly Mana Source and Food Chain, and then you can sack both dorks immediately. Oh, and there's
a
a dockside
dockside.
extortionist.
How much is that? There's a mana
It's
vault.
only 3, 4. It's only 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's not bad. It's basically a dark ritual rate, right?
I mean, it's a dark ritual rate that you get to save for later. That's
Yep.
that's the part of dockside that really makes it actually so strong. You can save that 3 mana, and now it was ramp 3 on your next turn. 3 Lotus Petals. It's so strong. 4 Lotus Petals in this specific instance, and he does crack them all right away. And he's just going to cast that first Sliver. The other thing is they are artifacts. So 1, they do fuel other people's docksides, and 2, if somebody plays a Null Rod or a Meltdown or something like that, they all do just kind of die.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but I think he's more concerned about the dockside that we already know is in Sinestra's hand.
Well, we know that, and Sinestra's been making a joke about maybe having dockside all game, but
yep.
Who
He
knows?
certainly doesn't know for sure.
Who knows if David cracked those 4 things because he took him too seriously, or not seriously enough. He cascades into an abrupt decay, which does fire off straight at the fish.
Yep. I mean, as far as random cascades go off of a value food chain sliver, for value first sliver, can't complain too much about abrupt decay.
It is actually really funny that you call it food chain sliver. I was listening into the game when it happened, and David kept calling the card food chain sliver. And,
yes, I heard that too.
It is kind of amazing. He was like, "Look, I don't remember what the card's name is. I just have the card. Okay, here it is. It's called the food chain sliver." I mean,
he does chain through your deck with that cascade.
he does. It's the first chain.
Ooh, a silence. Is it all coming down here?
Well, we
He
do
still has
know
the
that
Adnaz in
we
hand.
do know that Sinestra has the Adnaz in hand.
There's an Adnaz. Lavinia's gone. Mystic Remore is gone. Nothing is stopping him. This silence. He's obviously short of mana source, but I assume he has that in hand. So.
Yeah, he's already used the Dark Ritual.
Okay, so it looks like Big Willie's gonna respawn here.
Willie, of course, always holding up infinite interaction, keeping our other players fair and honest. Sinestra, I think, here is just hoping that there isn't a second piece of interaction now. Probably.
Notion Thief.
Well, that's an interesting one. It's not exactly going to stop the Adnaz, but it definitely makes some of your Adnaz lines harder. Makes it so that you can't use any top deck tutors, plus nothing like Vamp Tutor into Ponder to tutor up a card. Nothing like Git Probe to dig deeper. It does you can't do a Windfall line. It definitely stops a lot of your lines when you're nosing. But I think at 18 life, Sinestra's really just looking for a 2-card combo of some kind. Probably just hoping for that Oracle.
Yeah, it might not even be Nas here. Maybe he has something else.
Yeah, I never even considered it. He could have just drawn straight into Oracle.
I gotta say, some lists run Demonic Betrayal, and these are some pretty juicy looking graveyards.
The Jegantha taps to throw down an Abrupt Decay. Not sure how good that's going to be exactly.
So what is he blowing up? Oh,
blowing
he
up
wants
the
Sisay
Sisay
back.
to get it back, of course.
Okay. It's like a 7 mana Sisay at this point.
Did
he put it in the graveyard?
Looks like she's choosing just to graveyard it. Does Sisay run any reanimation? Can we check that real quick?
Yeah, she's running it in her list. I know they have a Goryo's Vengeance and Shallow Grave for that hasty reanimation.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Because you don't have access to your companion throughout the game the way that you have your access to your commander, if Jegantha does get blown up, you really do need to get her back.
Yeah, but it also lets you. It's also a way for you to cheat the costs with with a loot or something.
Yeah, for sure. That makes it. That makes the Jace Vern's Prodigy there make a lot more sense. I really like the synergies in this deck. It's a really interesting brew.
Pretty rough that I got hit with that reverse dark ritual for that added companion cost.
Yeah, I did get to see it played out a good amount before that companion change, and I really did think that it was right after companion came out. People were asking me, "Oh, is there a place for companion in cEDH?" And this was the only one that I was like, this one's a cool deck. I think this one's got some legs. I think this one might go some places, but all the rest, don't really seem useful at all. And I'm really glad that even after that companion change, Rebel's sticking at it, and it's still looking like a pretty good deck.
Yep, definitely. It's looking still has a very consistent game plan, even with the extra cost.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, having access to Dockside fixes a lot of meta problems. Alright, looks like a Mystical tutored for something. Honestly, I missed what he tutored for.
Oh, I'm sure we'll see it here. Here come all of the cards that Sinestra's been holding on to all game. I'm assuming that it's like a wheel or something. He just slammed the LED.
See what this is. Oh, is this an Underworld Breach? Wait, no, you can't breach. You can't. Ooh.
Cabal Ritual.
Okay.
Looks like the Adnaz might be coming down after all.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's gonna Nas and crack LED. So he's got 1 black and 3 red floating.
And still an unspent land.
Yep. So he's got potentially blue.
18 life Nas, here it comes. Already hitting a tutor. That might be good.
It's honestly not too bad. He has 5 mana floating, so you just gotta hit some gas. Okay. I mean, he did hit the Enlightened Tutor, which can find his breach. So he just
There's
needs to
some
hit cantrip,
mana.
really.
That Grand Abolisher's not looking so great here.
Yeah.
Intuition. It's a good card. Felwar Stone gives him a little bit of colors. Well, it really depends. What are the 2 cards that were in his hand were just some mana. Is that enough to get him there?
It might be. I mean, he has Enlightened Tutor plus Windfall. I think he has enough to cast Breach, right? The only thing is he can't cast the... Oh, wait, no. He hasn't played a land yet, so he should be good. Yeah, this looks like enough to me. So he's going to go Mana Vault into Felwar Stone to get his white mana, looks like. Right, so he has 5...
God, Breach is such a silly card.
Yeah, so he's got 5 float. Then the Mana Vault's going to put him up to 7. And the Felwar Stone's going to put him to 6. That's enough to cast Enlightened Tutor plus Windfall plus Breach. That's exactly enough. I think he should be able to get there.
Yeah, and it looks like that's going to be the game. Sisay Jegantha still putting up a good fight. Not a ton of interaction actually coming out of the deck, though, overall. I do think that it's kind of light in that regard, but I don't think that is always going to be a bad thing at every table. I feel like at a table like this, you just kind of have to wait for the right moment to go off.
Yeah. Let's see how he plays this out. Intuition, interesting. I guess. Yeah, Intuition works too, because he can just grab the... he can go for Breach, Savines, and anything really.
It's so interesting to me how Savine's Reclamation has been showing up so much because of Breach specifically. How...
Yeah, I mean, it turns your Intuition into a 1-card combo. It's pretty good. Looks like he's just going to go for the Intuition line.
Alright,
That seems...
And
Oh,
that's
and he has the extra mana, so I think this is more than enough mana to accomplish his goals.
all right. GG. Thanks to all of our players, and thanks to Rebel for showing up with a new deck for us.
Yeah, some pretty tight gameplay. Unfortunate that David was out for most of the game, but I think pretty exciting game. We got to see most of the decks do their thing. So yeah, and then Sisay had a pretty strong showing and showed a lot of resilience fighting through all the interaction. All right, so it looks like Sinestro is just going to go for the standard Brain Freeze Breach line. So he's just basically just going to cast LED a few times, mill himself with Brain Freeze, and then just cast with Thassa's Oracle and just win the game right there. Pretty straightforward, smooth, easy cheesecakes.